say good morning once again to our listeners and viewers. We say welcome to another edition of To The Point. Today being Monday, the 8th day of September 2025. Let me say good morning to those who've our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. Nice to have you with us this morning. I'm your host, GT. Let me say good morning to our co-host, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Good Monday morning to you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning to you. Very good morning to you. I am doing good. And by extension, good morning to our viewers, our listeners, our followers, our supporters. Pleasant good morning to you. I want to wish everyone a very, very productive week.
All right. It was a pretty nice weekend. There's a little bit of shower that came down on Saturday.
Which was nice.
That was like, it was a little odd though.
Yeah. But
it was a little odd in terms of the instant way it came and just stopped.
Right. And that kind of a pattern is what we're seeing as, I think, the new norm, where Grenada feels like a continent in itself, where you have different rainfall across the island. It's like you have counties and places or municipalities where the rain is falling and not falling other parts. Because you look at one part of St. George, you may have sun, other part you'll be having rain. St. Andrew may have flooding in one side, and then the other side nothing. So I think it's just
it's really kind of odd, because I experienced one that I was passing in an area and I saw a mark across the road.
Right.
That rainfall there. And I'm talking about it's in the same area.
Yes.
And half of that area had no rainfall at all. So just that half. And there was that line across the road that showed that side rain.
It speaks to, again, what's happening within the humidity in the atmosphere and how it is spread across, and the interfering factors that could be there. Some of it would be man's intervention, the depleting of the ozone layer and all that, and some of the substances that might be evaporating into the atmosphere could have something to deal with how the clouds are dispersed over, an area that could be responsible for, driving aspect of the rainfall. And you may recognize, I think, we should be observing, I think, 21 years since Hurricane Ivan.
Yes.
Now, that has had a significant impact on our topography. Similar, just over a year ago, we had the impact of Hurricane Beryl. That has significant impact on our topography, particularly in Carriacou and Petit Manly.
Yes.
Now, when you have the trees of a particular height and a particular density, it has the ability to attract the rainfall in a particular way. So now, how the land topography is shaped in itself, the height of the trees, the depth of the valleys, and so forth, that could have something to do with how the surface attract the rainfall from the atmosphere. Okay. So all of these could have interfering factors that could be responsible for spreading our rainfall. As well as I said, there could be man's other intervention within there. Like one time people were saying those hurricanes that we're getting, they are generated, they are created by, they are made in some lab and they sent to the Caribbean and all that. But those are...
sometimes I think about it myself when individuals talk, especially when they talk about climate change, and you listen to individuals who just debunked the whole idea. They ain't nothing about climate change. Well, it's just happening. There are people who just have that particular notion about like, hey, with climate change, the gases that are emitted from vehicles and these things are not really causing problems.
Right.
You understand?
Right. So there are some things that you can debate, but you really can't change what people are experiencing and seeing. Yeah. For instance, you may say that Sunday is not the first day of the week. The reality is that after a particular amount of hours, it goes into dark and then it comes into sunlight. Okay. So what you are sure of, you can't change that because there's always a dark and there's always a light.
Daytime.
So days are changing. And you cannot change that. You cannot prevent that. So some people may argue there is no climate change. There is no climate variability. But as you go along, you would see through the years, there are differences in what's been happening.
Things are just not the same.
They're just not the same. So what's responsible?
Yeah.
You may not be able to scientifically point specifically to that is causing that, but definitely there's a change. It's similar to what people say about their religious affiliation. Yeah. Some people say there is a God, some people say there is no God. But in general, people recognize that whether you say Allah, you say Jah, you say Jesus, you say God, you say Muhammad or otherwise, human being seems to recognize that there is a supreme or a higher being that is responsible beyond us, that they need to give homage to. So that doesn't change the reality. That's, nature and how the human is created. So we have to it's kind of deep, right?
I know it's deep.
We have to end up living.
I do understand. I do understand where you're coming from, because it's just the way of human beings thinking. And everybody always want to have that unique perspective about themselves and how they feel. And I just think across the board, I always say, just respect how one
I was about to say that. You read my mind. I
just
said
respect
the bottom line.
Feel.
The bottom line is to respect each individual's opinion, their feelings. The facts will be the facts, and some people will debate facts.
Yeah.
And they'll try to contradict facts. But the bottom line is, personally with me, I say it's like a test match. Yeah. If you can't win, sometimes you draw.
Yeah, or you lose.
Well, yeah. Or you
still can win.
You concede. Because some people just feel, I don't want to lose. So with me, I would just give it up.
I'll just give it up.
Or I'll just give up and say, okay,
so
you know what?
Straight up, I didn't lose or I didn't win.
Right. Or I just say, let the other person feel that they won.
So any flowers we tried out this morning? Any flowers we tried out this morning?
Yeah, there's a little bit of flowers. I think that I wanted to throw out, and part of it is with our road reconstruction work, the undertaking of the projects with NAWASA and so forth. I think they are doing a really fine job in terms of the road control, along with maybe the RGPF, how they manage the traffic flow. Yeah. To be honest, it seems almost as though there's some level of scientific follow-through on that, or study as to what period of time they need to allow, what times of the day they need to do certain things, because they're working in the day, they're doing some work in the night, they're doing a lot across country. And still we're not having that excessive build-up as a result of the road work that they're doing. We're seeing different build-up of traffic in different places, but it's not attributed to the work. So I really want to give them the flowers for that, and going forward into our future, I think we can see the advantage of having water dispersed more widely and consistently across the country.
And that will be a plus for everyone. That will be certainly a plus for everyone.
So now
I will still say, I may not give I think the traffic flows better without the police control.
That too is debatable. But in some instances, you see it at particularly where there are lights. Yeah. And you tell yourself that, well, they stop you. They stop, and then there's no traffic flow on the other end. But if the light's flowing, or there are no lights, a person will just give right away, and there will be a continuous
flow. Just flow of the traffic. And sometimes I just think they cause that build up for a longer period when individual drivers make that decision for themselves. And sometimes you get that movement even more.
I wouldn't sweep them with a broad brush, though. Yeah. I think it has to do with the individuals, because there are some traffic wardens and police who are very flexible and understanding with what they handle it well. They're able to keep it flowing. And there are others, I see they cause the traffic to be static, so they stop and end completely. Yeah. But you can be like an octopus, with two hands.
It's true.
You can spin.
I mean, allowing 50 cars to pass one time is on hold up for another set of people. Absolutely. And I think that's where the problem comes in. Absolutely. You may stop one section of the traffic, but you're allowing 30 cars to pass. Yes. You could have probably broke it down and get it moving a little bit faster. Right. You understand? I think that's where the problem I think comes in.
Sometimes they could allow continuous flow, but asking people to be cautious. Yeah. Pay attention to the traffic on the right. And if you figure that there's a build-up, then you stop and you move again, or you continue to pull. But those, especially I think by the Radisson Junction food fair, I think sometimes that is horrendous, because they sometimes stop completely in one end when there's nothing happening. So the traffic could be running at about three angles, to be honest, at the same time.
All right. Mr. Mack, we due for break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we get into our meat of our conversation this morning. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We coming right back. Don't touch it out.
Are you ready to take charge of your money, build wealth, and protect your family's legacy? Then join us on October 9th, 2025 at Radisson Grenada Beach Resort for your Financial Future 2.0, Legacy, Literacy, and Liberation, a one-day financial summit designed to break cycles, build wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. You'll gain real-life budgeting hacks, a money mindset reboot, steps to create generational wealth, and practical tips on investing, estate planning, insurance, health, and business finance, all from expert speakers who know how to turn knowledge into action. With 2 inspirational keynotes, 3 powerful panel discussions, and 6 breakout sessions, you will leave with your personalized action plan for success. Don't wait. Secure your seat today. Tickets are EC $350 at disruptiveleadershipconference.com/YFF. Your financial future 2.0. Your next chapter starts here.
Grenlec Community Partnership Initiative.
On behalf of the Ministry of Carriacou and PT Martinique Affairs and Local Government, and by extension the Government of Grenada, we would like to say a heartfelt thank you to the Grenada Electricity Company, Grenlec, for coming on board with us to partner for the Build Back Better initiative by providing furnishings for the homes. And furnishings include beds, mattresses, and other things, and we want to say that it has positively impacted the residents of those homes who have already benefited, and for those who will benefit, we know that it will positively impact their lives as we work together to recover Carriacou and PT Martinique.
Grenlec, energizing our community.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Mr. McIntyre, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You briefly mentioned it in our intro segment this morning, intro conversation. Hurricane Ivan.
Yeah.
21 years.
Yes.
Of Hurricane Ivan. The memories that a lot of folks still carry with it. You know, the trauma individuals who may be still going through.
Yeah.
And then we had Hurricane, was it Emily?
Emily
the year after.
205.
205.
Yeah.
Then last year we had, of course, Beryl.
Yeah.
In Raven, the comparison to how we are now, our state of mind, how things are done, are we better off today? You see, sir.
Okay. So before I answer your question, maybe our viewers or followers and our listeners, we can ask them, is it necessary for us to reminisce, or is it good for us to go back 21 years?
I mean, they say memories, you always have to remember your past in order to move forward. Some folks may say that. Remember your past in order to move forward.
Right. And before I still answer your question, do you think then it is necessary for the conversation to continue by our authorities so that the whole idea of complacency and other things and things are not happening, that we can go back into that mode? Do you think that that is something that is important, that we should keep the conversation?
I would say yes. I think it's important for us to maintain the conversation, because if you remember what happened back then, they are a way of developing strategies and patterns to deal with what may happen now.
Right. Right.
That's how I foresee it.
But do you get a sense that we seem to be forgetting that, though? Because
sometimes the impression is like that.
Because the 7th of September went yesterday.
Yeah.
Was there any remembrance? Was there any commemoration?
I think the conversation was minimal.
Minimal.
If there were any at all.
Right.
In terms from the authorities' point of view.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear anything. If there were, I was just maybe regular individuals talking about it.
Yes.
You understand? But nothing substantial. Some folks may say, well, that gone already, what are we talking about that again?
Right.
You understand? Some folks may give that impression.
Right. So I think in general, when things happen, we tend to be short memory on them. And people say that most of the time we behave like 7 days, maybe Adventists are probably not. And we do remember things for 7 days, and after that it's gone. And then we remember things for a couple of years, and then we shelve it. Yeah. And I really don't think that is a good pattern. And I believe our history, like other history that we've gone through, or the generation that we have now, they don't seem to understand the importance of that history and how it influences our future.
Why, if the tapping on you with this, why do you think it's important to always have a conversation as relates to significant issue, or should I say development like Hurricane Ivan? Why do you think that conversation should be done on a regular, in your opinion?
Because hurricanes, tropical cyclones, they are one of the threats or hazards that we have in the Caribbean that would not go away. We face that every year. And so you do have entities, agencies that are established to be able to mitigate the impacts of those things that are likely to happen. Yeah. They're inevitable, that they will happen sometime or the other. And because they are humans, and humans are vulnerable, they are exposed, we are exposed. As a matter of fact, they are the disadvantaged, the poorer persons who are more exposed and vulnerable to these things happening. It means then that we do have a moral, social responsibility for ensuring that the history inform what we do presently and direct some aspects of our future. And if we don't want to do the bad things that we did in the past, and we want to do things that were good in the past better, we need to be able to reflect on history. And I think our generation now, they are blaming us in a lot of ways for things that they do not know that's relevant. And I've been on Earth not for very long, for sure, but the history that I've gone through over that period of time, when I speak to my children and other friends and associate, my son's friends and associate, and I would speak to them and they would wonder whether or not that actually happened in Grenada. And so some things that are happening now, you can say, but that could be as a result of. Yeah. And if we had taken this direction, or if we had done this, that could have been and could be different. And that's what history is about. History is to be able, not for you to lament on it and try to live in the past, or go back, as people say, in the olden days. We cannot go back and do the thing of the olden days. But what we need to do is to always re-examine. There's something in disaster risk reduction called lesson learned, and lessons implemented. But in a lot of situations, we do not document the things of the past appropriately. We do not archive and library them appropriately and safely just as well. So we lose them. And so when we lose them, we lose a lot of impacts of things that we should do. Engineering designs and so on. There's sometimes the civil engineering and so forth, engineering. A lot of what we do in our construction industry, in our infrastructure, the local information, the history can inform a lot of that, not just the science. And so when we do not document these things, when we do not speak of the experiences of the past, we tend to lose a lot. And that's what I think the conversation of the revolution, the conversation of Hurricane Ivan, the conversation of even Hurricane Janet that came on even before.
It was something I was just going to mention to you. Would you say the factors of time and distance makes a difference in the conversation?
It does, because it leads
to... Remember, Janet was it almost 50 years?
Yeah, about 49 years there, but before Hurricane Ivan.
In comparison to Janet.
That's correct.
What could have learned from Hurricane Janet when Ivan comes?
Yeah.
Or came, sorry. When Ivan came, what difference could we have done in the memory of what happened with, Hurricane Janet to Ivan? Then we would say Ivan and Emily was a year apart.
Right.
Someone say maybe we have handled Emily better
than we did
because of the short time span.
Absolutely.
You understand? The shorter time span between Emily and Ivan.
Yes.
And then Emily, we didn't have anything major coming again, not until Beryl.
Yes.
But
there are a few significant things that happened during Hurricane Ivan, Emily, and Beryl to an extent that Grenada need to be reminded of.
Yeah.
Before Hurricane Ivan in 2004, there was the National Emergency Relief Organization, NERO.
Yeah.
And I remember somewhere around the 15th of October 2004, the entity of NERO was renamed to NADMA.
Okay. And
the reflection being that the whole mode of what was happening in Grenada, people tend to have been so reactive in that. I remember P.S. Lana McPhail, let me say good morning to you as well. And the rest of us, we examined and informed the cabinet that there has to be a name change. We cannot be reflecting on relief, and everybody will come because this is a relief organization, and everybody was just wanting things for relief.
Okay.
And then the whole aspect of rebuilding better and doing things differently was really not incorporated in the name. And so that triggered a name change. So we rambled through it. And I think either by the 15th or the 17th of October of the same year, that we had a name change approved by our cabinet to NERO to NADMA. Similar, it went through the Caribbean. You had CIDERA, Caribbean Disaster Relief Organization or Agency, and they renamed themselves to CIDEMA months after, just as well, to reflect that they are comprehensive in their nature of dealing with hazards and disasters. And so these are some of the conversation we have to be able, even through our academias, we need to be able to to spread that through, so our local intellect and technical people who are coming through the system will understand where this came from and what it meant, and what it means to us culturally and economic development processes, how that can retard the process. If you are only reacting to a situation and not mitigating, putting things in place before it happened, you will always be playing catch up. And that is what comprehensive disaster management is all about. Looking at the issues, looking at the hazards, and putting things in place so that when they happen, the things that you cannot prevent, you're going to limit the impact of that. And when you do something, similar to how you write plans and test plans, you write plans, but they're only good when they are brought to life. You test them, and then you go back and you review them, and you incorporate the experiences that you had in the past into your plans. And so what should be happening 21 years plus after, and 1 year after, our instruments of disaster management should have really been reviewed. Look at, again, every year, in my opinion, we should be pulling up some aspect of review. This is where we came from. This is how we looked then. I recall very, very clearly the process of information sharing and how our cabinet was treating the information that they got from the Met Services during the time of Hurricane Ivan. Our cabinet seemed to have been very slow at the time, seemed to have been very indecisive, seemed not to have been giving us, as the entity, a very good sense of direction.
Yeah.
Because the experience of the past was not incorporated properly. The experience of Ivan 49 years prior, and the lack of not having a hurricane so strong. Janet Ivan, yes. Janet in 1955. That experience coming forward, I don't think the government then had a lot, if any, of experience with things that they could have banked on. And so while we were providing the information, they were slow in deliberating on it and giving some precise feedback that the nation. I was speaking to some other persons only a couple of days ago, and they were saying that is really true, because we wanted to shut down, we wanted to do this and do that, but we were not getting the direction, in a timely manner as to how we should do that. And how do you blame them 100% for that?
So it's like the know-how was not there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we're saying then, 21 years later, how is our government, how is our administration, how is the NADMA entity, what is the information process? Has that improved? And we look at that and we may say, yes, we may want to say, okay, you know what? We had a little break then, and then 20 years thereafter, we had the Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah.
After Ivan and Emily. What have we done differently?
Would you say anything? Well, it's just coming to my question now. Would you say that we are better off now as a nation, even as an organization, as NAGMA in precise, in terms of doing things? Are we doing it? Are we better off now comparing to go back to Ivan, Emily, Beryl?
Yeah,
we still in the hurricane season right now. Supposedly, we're not hoping for. There's an incident that may occur with the end of September. The month of September. Yes. Are we better off now to respond? You understand? So, would you say we are better off? You smiling at it.
I could answer your question in one answer, and I could just tell you yes or no. But I cannot give you, because while I
know you're not in depth in terms of the involvement in the organization.
No, but I know I have an idea. I know
what's going on.
And I could make my own opinion, and that's how you know where you stand when you are judged and you're given the information by the public.
Yeah,
they are the judge of the situation, and they would criticize you or they would commend you.
Yeah, and
so despite what you do internally or otherwise, if it's not known to the public, they would speak out what they feel or what they get out there.
Yeah.
So whether they instrumentally, internally or otherwise, there are some processes that they've gone through, but it has to be made known. But for one, I know, because I worked in the system after all of those, I know there are things that are much better.
Yeah. Okay.
But there are places and things where we have regressed.
Yeah.
And if I want to also take the word of the Prime Minister at the review at 20 years, down at the Radisson, the Prime Minister said, we are definitely better. Mm-hmm. That is Prime Minister, our current Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell. Yeah. He did say that. I say, as a matter of fact, we could teach some other country how to respond to situation, to hurricanes and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then we had Beryl. And whether or not his statement lived up to his expectation is something that I guess the nation will have to judge and make the response on. But personally, I can see that we are better in a lot of ways than we have been in the past.
And things are done differently now.
And things are done differently. And so that is my personal opinion. I don't want to reflect anybody, entity or otherwise. That is my opinion in terms of what I understand, what I know, and what I feel and I see outside. But as I said before, while we have progressed in a lot of areas, there are some areas, not that we have become stagnant in it, but we regressed. And I have no recall of the statement. In a lot of ways, we've gone back in some things where we should have gone forward.
Continue to improve on them, per se.
Continue to improve. And if you ask me what is responsible for that, I can tell you we're not having the conversations sufficiently.
Yes.
And we're not holding sufficient grassroots level communication and conversations about the issue, and having them incorporated and brought back and get the feedback. And so sometimes when you are at a particular level, you tend to see at that level and you operate at that level, and you do not really get the feel at the level above and the level below. Right. And that is where part of the system could be enhanced, where we need to be able to see more of the involvement and the information sharing up, literally, upward, horizontally, or vertically. We need to be able to see that process incorporated a bit more, where the voices of the people, I hear people speak about the voices of the people, the people's forum. I think nationally we need to have more of that. And in a lot of ways, people have not had, again, in my opinion, the opportunity to vent themselves sufficiently about the experiences of the past.
Yeah.
I think it is too closed in and left up to just a few people, and the few people may be sometimes a lot. The policy and the technocrats and so forth, and not a lot of the grassroots. Yeah. And I think that is one of our weaknesses. I guess some people may support me or they may want to disagree with that, but again, that is my personal opinion. And I think across the board, we need to be able to have those conversations a bit more, and we need to be able to encourage that and create the enabling environment for people to come through the unofficial. There was something called the fireside conversation one time.
Yes.
The roadside talk, the weekend kind of a
and
thing.
You sort of preempted my next conversation or statement I wanted to make, because it goes along that same line.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with a couple of gentlemen, and we were talking the same thing.
Right.
And they were talking, we're in hurricane season, but we're not hearing a lot related.
Okay.
We're talking about the bombardment of the information.
Right.
There are lots of avenues now that individuals could receive information.
Yes.
No longer do an individual may have to just sit by a radio and hear.
Right.
It is one of the mediums. There are social media and all of these things now that people pay a lot more attention to.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But sometimes we don't hear much about the hurricane season. Yeah, we are bombarded with political conversation on these things that are bombarded a whole lot.
Right.
But what are we into right now? Because we don't seem to be getting. If no one, then an alert just shows out. Not really an alert, but a message has been broadcast a whole lot. Just reminding you, we're in hurricane season. Be prepared.
Yes.
It will trigger your mind to want to focus on these things.
Right.
And not wait until an actual, warning comes out.
Yes.
And you can say, well, my mind is prepared, so I know I have all these things taken care of. I paid attention to my home. I have paid attention to my surroundings. I've created an evacuation plan and so forth. Just by getting those messages once a week.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And just being bombarded with information.
Right. So I don't want to beat up on anybody. Or
it's not really a beat up, eh?
No, but no, me. I'm coming with a point to tell you that I would want to sometimes shoot and point a finger at you guys in media just as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe you all become too dependent to be fed, and you don't try to feed and fish yourself and put the authorities under pressure and request the information and generate your information yourself. And I don't want to say that we need to try to reculture ourselves. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of ways, whether we're cultured in that way or we grew up in that way, depending on entities have the responsibility to provide. And if they don't, nothing happen. In a way, if there's a weakness in the system, I am thinking that every individual and every entity, including the media, you are a stakeholder in disaster management.
I agree.
And so if you figure that the information is not coming as sufficient as you want, you can generate your own and start doing it. We can say, well, we're in the hurricane season, we're not getting from where we figure we need to get it, so we're going to generate. So it's not I'm defending anyone or I'm beating anybody, but I just think in some
agree,
ways,
and I am in total agreement with you.
That sometimes we could generate that. Yeah. Even within our school systems and so on. Sometimes if NADMA do not generate something for the schools, if NADMA don't send something to one of the media house, they don't come up and generate themselves. You have to let's say, show that you have some level of growth yourselves after you've been provided with the environment to be able to do that, and so go on. But in a lot of ways, as I mentioned, NADMA, when we look at comparing the 204, the 205, and the 2004?
Yes, 2024.
2024, another 4 again.
Yeah, another 4.
Yeah, and another 7. It's kind of happening.
Yeah.
Some of the things that were done then and some of the things that are done recently, we do not really pay some attention to it. I can't recall exactly the death toll during Hurricane 1955.
Okay.
Janet.
I have limited knowledge. I was nowhere around at that time.
Right. But they weren't a significant amount. But I think Ivan, I remember 39 persons died as a result. And I think officially there were 2 that died directly relating to Beryl.
Okay.
But unofficial information indicated that some people passed not too long after the direct impact that could be related, but not reported on the statistics. And we do not really, in my opinion, examine the internal detail as to what could have been the factors. Now, if you have a category 4 that battered the island of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and you had a death toll of 2 persons directly related, it means that something was done right.
Okay.
And NADMA Carriacou and NADMA Grenada, sometimes they are unfairly beaten up.
Okay.
And in this instance, I think the information that they provided could have helped tremendously. My understanding, there was a lot of information in terms of the readiness about the hurricane that would have led to evacuations and people getting into safer places that could have mitigated the death toll. And that is a fact that we have to recognize, scientifically or factual or otherwise. I do not have the stats in terms of what they did, but my understanding is that they did a lot in terms of informing people. There was information on the island, the office up there, and that in itself could have been one of the reasons why you did not have more people losing their life. And a lot of time we don't speak about the good part. We tend to, beat up on all the negative that we see, that the people not getting relief fast enough, the house is not building back quick enough, the debris on the ground this long. And we do not go back in the history to look at, well, if so many houses were on the ground and beaten up so bad, why we didn't have more dead people up there? And we not really related to, these people had some information that caused them to have moved to a safer place.
And they adhered to the information.
And I think the information processes is one of those things that has improved over the years, coming from Ivan to Beryl.
All right, but we still could do better.
Of course, a lot better.
A whole lot better. So back with you for a break. Let's take it. We're coming right back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We coming back right after the break. Don't touch your dial.
Something powerful is coming to Glen customers. Smarter service, more convenience, a greener way to connect. Get ready for a better way to manage your electricity service. Coming soon. Glen, empowering you.
On Sunday, November the 9th from 5 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center, Legends Promotion presents the 19th Annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert featuring the best of Grenada, along with 2 special guest artists. This edition promises to be extra special. Get ready, Grenada, to be blown with surprises at the 19th Annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert, Sunday, November the 9th, 5 p.m. Grenada Trade Center. Stay tuned to GBN for more.
championship glory awaits as the world's greatest athletes are converging on the world's greatest platform in Tokyo, Japan. The likes of Kirani James, Anderson Peters, and Lyndon Victor. 3 titans ready to clash in the ultimate battle. Who will reign supreme? Will it be Kirani's speed, Anderson's precision, or Lyndon's power? It's the World Championships from Tokyo, Japan, from September 13th to the 21st. Follow the action live daily on GBN Television.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point for today, Monday, the 8th day of September. And, you know, our previous conversation with myself and Mr. Sylvan McIntyre, we were talking 21 years of Hurricane Ivan.
Yes.
We spoke a whole lot in terms of, you know, have we raised the comparison from then to now?
Yes.
How things are handled, how things are done, things are much different. Are we as a people in general, have set our mindset knowing that, hey, we're in a hurricane season.
Yeah.
And there's a different way that we should be thinking now.
Yeah.
The comparison and we don't get into that complacent way about things anymore.
Yeah.
We know the destruction hurricane causes.
Yes.
And, you know, climate change conversation will always go to spin. Hurricanes are no longer just a little rain and a little wind. And, you know, our structures are built different. You know, since after Ivan, I would say folks have built their structures much better.
You're hitting it nice.
Could respond to withhold the you know, different level of the hurricane.
Right.
But would you say no, sir? We don't want to forget. We don't want to forget at all what happened before. As I said, you must know your past in order to move ahead with your future. You know, so that whatever happened before, you can say, well, I have made some improvements, so I'm able to handle what's coming now.
Yes.
Would you say that, you know, as we are now in the peak of the hurricane season,
right?
September, hurricane ends at the end of November.
Yeah.
You know, between these times, even though thus far we haven't had anything major affect our region to worry about. You know, understand? Rain now and then, the sun is at a level that sometimes is a little bit unbearable.
Yes.
But there's nothing that has happened that would say that it will worry us that much.
Right.
Do you think that enough has been done, sir?
Yeah.
And it goes back to communication. That's a key conversation this morning. Communication, information sharing. You know, should we be talking to each other? You mentioned that, you know, you guess a little beat up, say we as radio people should be doing more. And I don't disagree with you.
Right.
I think we could be doing more.
Thank you. Very honest.
In terms of dispersing the information.
Okay.
But, you know, other things always seem to subside that for some reason or the other.
Yes.
And then we wait until we hear, hurricane is coming, there's a tropical condition outside there, and then we quickly try to get everybody revved up about it.
Yes.
You know? So would you be happy to say that we're in a lot much better space now?
Yeah.
As not talking as an institution or who heads when an emergency and so happens, but as regular people, a regular citizen. If you're speaking from a regular citizen point of view, the conversation you may have with your friends and neighbors and people that you see around, do you think we thinking on that level, sir?
No, I could answer your questions very short. We have not done enough.
Yeah.
To be honest. And if we think that we've done a lot, then the information process of what we've done, how we are different, should be more accessible, or the public should be more aware of what's been done. And I think we should have, if we have not done that, sit down and walk those things through, as I spoke about doing it annually. And I think we should create the forum where we would come back, and it serves as a reminder. It could even serve as a progressive move, or it gives you, it serves as a road map, or in some instances like an instrument of check and balance.
Okay.
So you can create that kind of a checklist, 2004, 2025, and do what was done in a particular way and what's been done now. And now you'll be able to back that up with statistics or percentage, and you could nationally know where you are. Definitely that we are better. We are speaking from a stronger, better informed position. That's where it is. While you may sit at conferences, at workshops, where the technical people may examine what have been done differently, but to the lay and average person on the ground, how do they understand that? In their opinion, they don't see, they don't hear, and if they're only told that a tropical wave, tropical depression, a tropical storm or hurricane is on its way, and you need to trim overhangings and you need to do this, they feel that is repetitive. That's something that
we cannot just in that reactive mood as we
and they tend to be, okay, well, we hear it again. But if you're able to see, last time this is where we were, and this is what we're doing, and I didn't really recall to want to be able to give some flowers, but I remember there were one time that we were clearing our stream and riverbeds before the hurricane season or during thereafter. And I want to give a bit of flowers. I saw some of it happening along the eastern corridor from I think Wester Hall all the way up by Traveller, and a lot of those riverbeds are cleared now. But this is September, this is peak hurricane season. Why is it done at this point? While that again is a flower, it's a commendable initiative, but what we're saying then, it should be a process that is undertaken before the actual hurricane season or the rainy season kicks in full. Had we have the kind of rainy season that kick in from June that give us all these showers, these restrictions and limitations we had in all these riverbeds that we're clearing now, they could have created problems for us.
Would have lessened.
So while we're doing that, it is good, but it is saying to us that our planning processes and our reactive mode, we have to be able to change that quite a bit. We're getting off because, God has kept his credential with us, still a Grenadian, and so forth, and so he's very empathetic to our cause, and he's giving us a lot of time, allowing us time. You understand that in 2024, we were beaten so bad, he kind of make it a little bit cool for us, I believe.
In 2025,
that we have not had the kind of a weather that we've seen.
And we're happy for that.
And we're really happy for that. But the point is, I am saying that we should be able to generate the information of our progress.
Yes.
Where our resilience and our approach to dealing with tropical cyclones are concerned, and we should make it publicly known. Not to be exposed to the technocrat and to a particular levels of persons, but we have to make it at the forum and at the language that a lay person could understand. In agriculture, in tourism, in the education sector, and so forth, at the community and district levels. What have we done progressively different? And if you want to have that level of prominence and confidence in anything you do, you need to back that up with information and facts.
All right, great. 4352041. We have approximately 10 minutes or so left on our program for today, which means I give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers. If you do want to contribute towards our program today, the opportunity is presented to you. Let's go to the phone line.
And it is to the point.
To the point. And keep it to the point, please.
Correct.
First caller via WhatsApp. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
According to the old people, when a fish spoils from the head, you know what happens to the fish is no good. So in my opinion, we have a certified person, very qualified in the professional field, in charge of NADMA, but that person is incompetent. And in my opinion, they need to go. However, if we follow what the gentleman deceased, Dr. Lamiel Stanislaus, always spoke about the 5 Ps: prior, planning, prevents, poor performance. But Mr. McIntyre, one of the things I want to ask, with all of our disasters, whether it be a vehicle accident, the eruption of a volcano or a hurricane, do we have any megaphones within our NADMA and within the community response teams, if we do have any? Because as I understand it, within 2024 and today, we had just about 30 persons trained. I think the last time I heard of some training was somewhere on the 5th of April 2024. Do we have community involvement and community response teams, which is very critical, because early response to an emergency is very important. So could you give us a little bit, if we have community response teams, as you call them, within the different communities, within the different parishes, within the different towns, and also, do we have any communication or training that takes place at the school level, secondary schools, and to a lesser extent our primary schools? Because it's important that the 5 people at the top, the disaster management team, the police can't do everything when it comes to emergency, so we have to get more involvement of the people. But critical is to communicate. We may have radios to communicate among ourselves or themselves as professionals, but do we have megaphones? So when there is an incident, when there is an activity and you have a large crowd, somebody can communicate easily to 20, 30, 40, 60 people at a distance of about a quarter mile. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so, caller, I wish to express at this point that I am not directly a part of the national system. I am speaking in my own individual and professional expertise. I cannot represent what the national entity should be informing about. But I can speak from my layman's knowledge and information that I know there are megaphones available. I know there are community response teams that are established in Grenada. I don't know what amount. I know not necessarily from the national, but there are community and voluntary organizations that have organized themselves into response teams and so forth. So that the answers directly and to be informed from that point, that belongs to the national agency's point of view.
Okay, we do have another caller.
Yeah.
Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, GT. Thanks for taking my call, and to my minister without portfolio, good morning to you, and continue the great job you're doing. My concern, because I live off island now, my concern is the laying of the pipes in the Grandlands area and so on. And based on experience and based on past knowledge, we have an underground track where the telephone lines and so on used to run from, Mount Hartman to St. George's. I'm hoping that they're not disrupting that. Because what I'm saying, because if you're going to prepare a climate smart country, we may be well looking in the future to put our electricity on the ground. So I hope that is not the case. It's just my concern. Thank you so much for taking my call again, and have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, your concern is shared by a lot of other persons, but we are hopeful that in our modern day, where you have the technology that gives us, you have depth sounders and so on, that would give us an indication as to where other lines are. I'm almost sure that those kind of studies have been undertaken. If they were not, I would be disappointed, because the lines that Grenlec would have, the telephone companies and NOASA, they all now into GIS programming systems and so forth.
Yes.
And they are located, they're mapped, and they track. So you can look on charts and maps and so on of the utility, electricity, water, and you can track where the lines and poles are located. So we believe that infrastructural coherence will happen, so that you do not have the crossing off and the doubling off, and when you create one thing to be better, you make another one worse. So I think in this modern day time that
I think that would most likely be
should have been undertaken before. Because this work that you see happening now It's not something that has just started a couple of weeks ago.
There were prior
work like consultation, and after burial, I think a lot of monies have become available even to NAWASA. I know the CRIF PF insurance did provide some monies
support to that,
support so they can do those.
Okay, we do have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, morning GT and morning Mr. McIntyre, morning to your viewers and your listeners. Mr. McIntyre said something in terms of the indecision of the cabinet after Hurricane. I think you put it mildly.
Yeah.
I think what we had was lack of leadership in every sense of the word. And I mean, I felt sorry for people like you, Mr. McIntyre, and so on, at the time. Even during COVID, I mean, NADMA was not allowed to play the role so that I could gain the experience, during the COVID thing, it. And I wouldn't want to get yourself committed here. But the thing about it is that we talk about communities. We don't have communities in Grenada with few exceptions. Maybe a little Mount Maurice, St. Paul's and so on. By and large, community have been destroyed since the invasion. Anything that looked like an organized thing was discouraged. And some new thing was trying to be put in place, like the youth committee, which the now opposition leader was supposed to be part of, which never really became functional. So we have to be honest and find a way to communicate with our people. The other thing about we are so fractured. None of us listen to the same media at the same time. There should be some kind of protocol that when something happened, all the radio station and TV and whoever it is carry the same message so that nobody can say they don't know. Mr. McIntyre, I heard somebody was saying on the news last week in a clip that in relation to the seismic situation in Kikanjini or Jimmy, or whatever you call it, they didn't know, and it was days after. I mean, you tell me, and you're living in St. Patrick's, it means something is wrong. So we need to find a way. And I agree with Mr. McIntyre that I think sometimes we give Nana a lot of blows with their joint too. Yesterday, I was in an activity organized out of St. Vincent on the issue of mental health and climate as part of the anniversary of burial. I mean, we should have something like that. I'm not saying we have to copy, and very useful conversation was have there. I only noticed one Grenadian person there, I mean, who have a media entity. I hope probably he gets you to use it. So we need to get our people, and then you mentioned something, I'll end here, about people who, with the climate change thing. Even officials, I mean, even people over the years, I couldn't believe sometimes the conversation they have and the confession they made. They still think that climate change is just a kind of sexy topic that you talk about inconveniently. Whereas climate change is a profound, fundamental, existential threat facing us. So all this thing about they putting things in the air and them kind of thing, and a lot of religious people have this nonsense too. So we need to have people having one understanding that this thing called climate change is a serious thing. Look, the heat that is happening. People are dying from the heat.
Yes.
We don't have
caller, we want to say thank you, caller. Thank you, Hola. We have one more caller. Let's take it, which may be our final one. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning to everybody, and I think it's a really timely program this morning, and the matters you dealing with is important. And I just want to call to say that in memory of Hurricane Ivan, which I think was the first major hurricane after 49 years or something like that, right? A lot of the damage that took place was the losses was because people were ill-prepared, right? In fact, I can remember where I worked, right? I was the only person that was seriously trying to put away things, etc. And even the persons who are assisting me, like two of the persons in my office who are assisting me, were actually kind of laughing at me, meaning I was making too much of a fuss, right? And that was the nature of our preparation for the hurricane, in that people didn't see it as something that, in fact, some people actually say they ain't mind the past, they want to see how it is, right? And I've been one of the proudly called ones. Made preparations where I worked, made preparations at home, and I was literally laughed at. In fact, the morning of Ivan, you would remember that guys were all playing football and doing all sorts of things, and everybody was having a good time, right? Until the wind started to blow. So I think that the program you're doing here, especially on the anniversary, is really important to give people the idea, because even if your house is blown down, but if you're prepared, it means you would have put away some food, you would have put away some clothes, you would have put away something that the day after the hurricane, you're not literally in the mode of a vagrant. So I think I thank you for this program this morning. I think it is real timely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, caller.
And caller, just to expand on what you said, I think that we should have had the program for the day and have people call in and speak about their experience and have people talk about how things are different now. I think that is the angle we need to go. I think if it would resonate and it would register more with people, if we allow people, media entities all should come together and say, listen, fellas, 21 years ago, the day after Hurricane Ivan, where were you and what you went through and what things are different now? Have this national conversation, have a national forum, get at the stadium or maybe get at the trade center, let us have a thing, show some videos and so on, and go back and see how we are different and what we are doing and how we are chatting the new course. Bring a clip from Beryl, bring a thing, you know what I'm saying? And we could, from that, it would show us the reality and we would say, really, I didn't know. Because every time somebody speaks on one of these medium, you hear something different. Something that you did not know actually happened. Somebody who benefited or somebody who was disadvantaged, you would hear this. And I just think we are not having enough conversations of the things that affected us and how we can use it to do the future different and better.
I will take a final caller, because this individual has been on hold for a wee bit. Okay. And I will just take this final caller. Yes. Caller, you're live via WhatsApp. Go right ahead, please. You're my final caller, and I beg of you to be brief, please.
Yeah, good morning. I just like to commend Mr. McIntyre for his wonderful job he has been doing over the years, and especially informing the public on various activities, especially with dealing with the hurricanes and other disasters. And I can remember when we was traveling from Carrico on the boat, I said to him he was wearing a green jacket. And I said to him, I think you should be wearing that green jacket because for the amount of human service you are doing. So I like to commend him because he's one that always there to disseminate the information to the public so that we can be aware of what is taking place in a timely manner. So I will say hats off to you, Mr. McIntyre. You may not know me, but I suppose you remember when I said to you on the boat why he was wearing that green jacket.
Yes.
You should be given that. So I commend you for your human service throughout the years and keep on doing the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
So McIntyre, that we coming to the end of today's program. I know interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Very, very interesting. I know the phones have been going a whole lot. We're sorry we're not able to accommodate us more
today, GT, we should have asked for permission to go an extra hour. But as I said before, the conversation should not only be GBNs.
Yeah, so true.
It should have been a national conversation.
True.
But as we conclude, though, the aspect of climate change will be with us. We commended NASA, gave them some flowers this morning. We are hoping that it came to my spirit that we could expand on our civic responsibility in combating the heat.
Yeah.
I think we should establish a few more water stations across Grenada.
Yes.
In workplaces, in public places, not just, we have gotten rid of the standpipes.
Yeah.
But I think in the malls and business centers have these coolers, standing coolers, where people feel that they would consume a bit more water because it is cool.
Yes.
I think those initiatives should be encouraged across the country.
We call them sometimes those cooling stations, so we should have that.
Yes.
Yeah. So McIntyre, I want to thank you once again. It's always a pleasure doing this program with you, sir, and today was something extra special about today.
Great.
Next week, you never know, it could be even better. Until we have again, sir, have a good one.
Bless, man.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank all our listeners and viewers who sat at home, who was driving, and you listened. Thank you so much. Join us again for another edition. That's where we say goodbye.